President Buhari condoles Barack Obama over Sunday's terrorist attack. Federal government's town hall meeting moves to the South-South. Government efforts to impact positively on the lives of the citizenry on the front burner. These and more on Panorama today, coming to you from Lagos Network Center. I am Ademola Adeoye. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break. President Muhammadu Buhari has condemned Sunday's terrorist attack on the Pulse Nightclub in Orlando, Florida, describing it as criminal and cowardly. In a letter to the ambassador to the United States in Nigeria, President Buhari conveyed Nigeria's heartfelt sympathy to President Barack Obama and the people of the United States. The president also assured the United States of Nigeria's continued support and cooperation in the fight against terrorism. President Buhari extends his most sincere condolences to families, relatives and friends of the victims. The condolence letter was signed by the Chief of Staff to the President, Abba Kyari. The Federal Ministry of Information and Culture Town Hall meeting series for the South-South, held in Uyo, featured explanations from ministers on development processes and the administration to make meaningful impact on the lives of the people. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stressed that there will be no communication gap between government and the governed. Anthony Forson reports.
As has been the tradition, the ministers gave a rundown of the achievements of the federal government as it concerns their ministries, with the Minister of Information and Culture leading the way, saying the federal government has started putting Nigerians back to work, as it promised to create jobs.
But the best news is that the administration has started putting Nigerians back to work in fulfillment of its promise to also create jobs. We are indeed on track. Of course, there's still so much to be done.
Rotimi Amechi of Transport and Ibeka Chukwu, Minister of State for Petroleum, who have been part of the meeting from inception, it has become a familiar outing for them with Nigerians.
No money, no money. I must thank the Minister of National Planning. Everybody was no money to do this project. We can't take the two, we must take one. We agreed that we will do both Lagos Calabar and Lagos Kano. Today, we are proceeding with Lagos Kano and Lagos Calabar. This year, we will commence with Lagos Kano, but we start with Lagos Ibadan.
For too long, we have relied on government institutions to be the track for development. That has got to change. Countries that have made it all over the world have been countries where individuals have the resources, have the intellect, have the creativity, and drive development. We must all begin to join hands to make a difference.
Just fresh from Ogoniland, after the Ogoni cleanup launch, Amina Mohammed explained that issues of the environment is not peculiar to one region of the country alone, that the federal government is prioritizing the impacts without leaving any area out.
Here we have to be honest with ourselves that a country that has been brought to its knees will take more than a day to rebuild. It's important that we address oil pollution. We launched the Ogoni cleanup, but that's only part of it. We said that that was our first step. The next step for cleanup has to be the rest of the Niger Delta, and we have to find the solutions to bringing forth how we do it.
Budget and National Planning Minister Udoma also had his chance to account for the federal government's stewardship in the last 1 year.
1, diversify. 2, diversify. 3, diversify. And how do we do that? We need to create the environment for the private sector. Because ultimately, government alone cannot do it. Government can create the enabling environment. So one of the objectives we want to achieve this year is to move 20 places up the ease of doing business rankings by implementing fast-track measures for business approvals, acquisition of land titles, and so on.
One minister who made his debut at the town hall meeting series is the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Usani Uhuru Usani.
We are actually working for society, for the benefit of people. We are expanding this
to be sure that whatever we are going to do has the approval of the local authorities through the governors of the states.
Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel spoke glowingly about the town hall meeting.
When people are regularly engaged and their inputs on the mechanics of governance sought, challenges explained and solutions proffered, I believe apathy and alienation are eliminated. And the net gain is that the populace becomes better informed about the workings and direction of governance.
In Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel has advised Nigerians to close ranks and work for national development irrespective of their political, ethnic and social background. It was during a conversation with Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed. Imo Etem reports.
Governor Udom Emmanuel noted that since elections are over, it is time for governance to provide the people with infrastructural facilities that will improve their well-being. The governor said good governance defies party divides and called on the political class to make.
The federal government's social intervention initiatives being implemented are testimonies of the APC-led government commitment to improving the lots of the less privileged. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed said this at the 8th annual Alhaji Kafaru Oluwole Tinubu Memorial Ramadan Lecture in Lagos. Abdullahi Mohammed reports.
The annual Ramadan lecture attracted people from all walks of life, including the Minister of Works, Power and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola. And for the Minister of Information and Culture, it was a perfect opportunity to share with the audience steps taken by the APC-led federal government in its resolve to promote economic growth and reduce poverty.
As you know, we've put aside 500 billion naira for social intervention, and it's broken into 5 parts. The first is the employment of 500,000 unemployed graduates who will be trained as teachers. The second is the employment of 100,000 artisans, technicians who are unemployed. Then we have the 1 meal a day for pupils in primary school.
The minister also took time to correct the impression that states are not ready.
It's not a state's program, it's a federal government program. The states have no contribution, no counterpart funding, as being erroneously reported. And we are targeting 5.5 million pupils all over Nigeria. Already the pilot scheme has started. We've been able to agree on the menu and how much per pupil.
The 8th Alhaji Kafaru Oluwole Tinubu annual Ramadan lecture featured Professor Amit Soni and Sheikh Abdul Latif Muhammad Bello as guest lecturers. In Lagos, Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
The newly announced job creation portal of the federal government has recorded over 400,000 successful registration since it opened for submission on Sunday, June 12, 2016. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant, Media and Publicity of the Vice President's Office, Laolu Akande, said government is very impressed by the enthusiastic response to the call for applications, stating that as at noon yesterday, June 13, only 36 hours after the launch of the portal, 403,528 applicants had successfully registered on the site and were in the middle of completing the application process without any hitches or system failures. He assured all Nigerians that the application process will not only be structurally robust, transparent and fair, but the selection process will also be based on objective criteria that has nothing to do with party affiliation. He stressed that unemployed Nigerians, both graduate and non-graduate, will be drawn from across the country on state-by-state basis. The National Assembly will soon come up with legislation that will provide flexibility in port operations in order to promote export and enhance trade facilitation. Members of the Joint Committee of Senate and House Committee on Marine made this known at an interactive session with management of the Nigerian Port Authority and port operators in Lagos. The members of the Joint Committee of the Senate and House on Marine and Harbour at the Interactive Forum stated that their mission is to collaborate with government agencies in the maritime sector to find a common ground of redeeming the nation's ailing economy. Going by the development in the oil sector and the determination of the federal government to diversify the economy, they noted that all hands must be on deck on how to shore up the federal revenue to provide funds for government to implement its programs.
We want to see the possibility of government to give a kind of incentives or be able to change the policies to help, important so that our ports will be life again.
Other issues discussed include how to create the necessary awareness for importers to take advantage of the windows of opportunities, especially in the export sector.
We are trying to emphasize, along with the government policy on so that at least the government is trying to see how they can diversify the economy. We also look at how we can be queuing into the system and how we can assist government in the export drive.
An enlarged meeting with terminal operators and other major stakeholders on how to tackle the challenges at the port has been scheduled for next week, Monday, in Abuja. In Lagos, a book described as the first of its kind in a ship-owning nation like Nigeria has been presented to the public in Lagos, titled Foundation of Carriage of Goods by Sea, the Nigerian Perspective, by a renowned legal practitioner and senior advocate of Nigeria, Chidi Ilogo. Vieira Chimwaba was there.
The 324-page book, described as being of utmost importance to a cargo-owning nation like Nigeria, is said to be well-researched in a specialized field of carriage of goods by sea. It captures the prevailing jurisprudence in the Nigerian maritime environment. The book, which is structured into 8 chapters, addresses the fundamental international principles of shipping and carriage of goods by sea within the Nigerian context and involving case law.
There are also 2 chapters on the international aspects of carriage of goods by sea, which will be a valuable resource for our lawmakers in law reform and policy considerations that underpin such reform.
It's a very, very important book because it explains in very simple language the intricacies of the law relating to carriage of goods by sea.
Justice of the Supreme Court, Bode Rhodes-Voivod, who unveiled the book, described it as Nigeria's maritime jurisprudence at its best. The former chairman, Body of Benches, Chief Judge Uechu SAN, and Chief Judge of the Federal High Court commended the author for his scholarly contribution.
In the Nigerian jurisprudence, there is not much literature on carriage of goods by sea, and it's an area that is very technical, and a lot of challenges are posed when people go to court, when lawyers go to court. So that's what informed my writing this book.
The author, with more than 40 publications to his credit, is also a consultant to International Maritime Organization. In Lagos, Vieira Chimwaba, NTA News.
We'll now take a break for some messages, after which Panorama continues. Stay with us.
We are here to serve, and indeed, Nigerians will get the service they have longed for and which they rightly deserve.
The leader today that we have in Nigeria is one the world has been waiting for. Nigeria is seen in a new and a different, very positive light.
With what President Muhammadu Buhari is doing, our economy will be strong and resilient to withstand the shocks.
He wants the best for this nation. We want the best for this nation. Our aspirations should be to put this country first, and together we shall make progress.
If we don't believe in our own country, nobody will believe in our own country. So we must make sure that we continue with the trajectory. We don't want to make a mistake of the past.
This president has a singular opportunity to make that difference because the whole country is behind him.
And by the grace of Almighty God and the sheer will and determination of the Nigerian people, we will come out stronger and more united than ever.
You're still on to Panorama, coming to you from Lagos Network Center. The rapid industrialization of Nigeria through development of iron and steel is a cardinal objective of the federal government. Minister of State, Industry, Trade and Investment noted this at a meeting with the Stainless Steel Importers, Sellers and Installers Association of Nigeria. Abdullahi Sulaiman Yaji reports.
Neglect of the iron and steel sector over time has affected production of industrial items such as iron rods, barbed wires and coils, capable of stimulating massive job creation. The situation, according to the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, is of concern to the federal government, hence its desire for partnership.
We have the steel policy under our National Industrial Revolution Plan, which is going to be a roadmap for them in setting up their factory. We're also going to ensure that as pioneer company or groups that are coming up with this initiative, whatever it is, incentives that we can provide for them, we would also provide, as well as also give them the institutional support in terms of developing a viable business plan and perhaps accessing from finance.
But the purpose of the visit is to seek the assistance of the ministry, because as an association we are looking for a way of want to develop stainless steel in Nigeria, and part of it is building a stainless steel plant, not just a stainless steel plant, a stainless steel market, and others allied companies.
The association added that it was seeking ways of advancing the fortunes of Nigeria in the area of manufacturing, stating that the iron and steel industry has a huge potential for economic diversification. In Abuja, Abdullahi Suleiman Iyaji, NTA News.
Minister of Labour and Employment Chris Ngege says the Buhari's administration is determined to continue the fight against corruption, eradicate poverty, provide security and turn around the economy. He was speaking on the administration's achievement at Nigeria's permanent mission to the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. Labour correspondent Emmanuel Ayimiro completes the report.
The mission of Nigeria to the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland facilitates fulfillment of Nigeria's obligations to various treaties, policies and human rights instruments. Ngige's visit on the sideline of the ILO conference is for the mission to be aware and spread the good news of what the Buhari administration is doing to Nigerians abroad and other international bodies.
Government are for corruption, and not only as if for corruption, the government have been transparent in all its dealings. You can see the publication done on what have been recovered.
Ngige also stressed that the federal government is creating conducive environment for Nigerians to be self-employed as government begins job creation in other sectors.
As we speak now, the government is recruiting persons to reinforce the Nigerian police. 10,000 officers and men have been recruited. Materials for their work is also being given to them. Same or ditto goes for the armed forces of Nigeria.
The government is taking an important lead. We are also here to support and sell the product of government, because that's what is here.
The minister also told the mission staff that insurgency in Nigeria is gradually becoming a thing of the past. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
Persons living with albinism in Nigeria join the rest of the world to mark this year's World Albinism Awareness Day. Adebola Brusling Sunday reports that apart from discrimination and stigmatization faced by these people, the day also focused on addressing issues and the need for stakeholders' interventions.
My history came from my grandfather.
Although 30-year-old Vivian Anyadofu has both parents black, she says she has faced a lot of discrimination and stigmatization right from her teenage.
I don't see myself as an albino, so if you call me that name, if I have the opportunity, I'll fight you.
Mariam Jeremiah is a mother of a child living with albinism.
They taught us they should allow them to go into the sun, and whenever they're going to school, she made sure you cover them with cap. Use cap or umbrella, cover them. Don't expose their skin on the sun.
For some others who did not take these precautionary measures, skin cancer is the major challenge they face, which the foundation explains informed the choice of the theme, addressing health issues in albinism, need for stakeholders' intervention, a theme that instantly got the sympathy of the National Hospital to reinstate the skin cancer-free treatment.
We continue to admit them, we continue to provide what we have to treat them.
The treatment have been reinstated. And the second strategy is to go the same way we went before to ensure that they get their money out of Ministry of Finance.
Currently, there are about 6 million Nigerians living with the oculocutaneous and ocular albinism. In Abuja, Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
And now to sports updates with Amanze Marcus.
Nigeria's women basketball team, the Tigers, will on Tuesday play South Korea in their second match at the FIBA Women's Olympic Qualifying Tournament in Nantes, France. The competition holds from June 13 to 19, with 12 countries competing for 5 Olympic basketball slots, and Nigeria are in Group C with Belarus and South Korea. Austrian Dominic Thiem became the first player to win 2 titles on 2 different surfaces this year, when he defeated Philippe Koch-Reiber to win the Mercedes Cup in Stuttgart on Monday. The French Open semi-finalist won 6-7, 6-4, 6-4 after their final on the grass courts had been halted by rain before the first set tie-break on Sunday. World number 7 Thiem, the fastest rising player on the ATP Tour, won on clay in Buenos Aires and Nice and on hard court in Acapulco this year. Brazil were knocked out of the Copa America after a 1-0 shock defeat against Peru at Foxborough, Massachusetts on Sunday. Raul Diaz scored a contentious close-range effort for Peru in the 75th minute, which had the referees deliberating for about 4 minutes before play resumed.
Today, everybody saw the handball. There is nothing we can do. If there isn't the footage to get all the information from, all your work can be thrown out by one mistake.
Ecuador booked their spot in the Copa America quarterfinals with a 4-0 win over Haiti in Group B. Group B winners Peru will now face Colombia on Friday at East Rutherford, where Ecuador will face host USA on Thursday. With Sports News Update, Amanze Marcus, NTA News.
Good name, exemplary lifestyle, and using one's wealth of knowledge to improve the society are some of the best legacies anybody can leave behind. Those were words of Venerable Shegun Ladende, Vicar, Anglican Church, Peninsula Parish, at the memorial service of late Jimmy Ate in Lagos. Annie Daniels has the details.
These are friends, family members and former colleagues of late Jimmy Ate as they trickled into the Ikoyi cemetery. Their topic of discourse is late Jimmy Ate's good deeds and the legacies he left behind. And so they have come to pray at his graveside in remembrance of the deceased, who passed on exactly 1 year ago.
He did a very good job as a father. He always mentored us. His kindness, his legacy lives on in our lives.
He was full of life and also full of knowledge, that sort of thing. So him being around longer, would have impacted more on us.
When you go to places and you mention your name, everyone wants to know, oh, are you related to Jimmy Ate? And when you say yes, you always meet people want to help.
The officiating priest noted that everybody, irrespective of age or ethnicity, is created by God to make a difference and affect the society positively, as demonstrated by late Jimmy Ate.
Many people who are better than us individually have left before us. So when we are preserved, we must use that preservation wisely by making the world a better place than we met it.
Late Jimmy Ate died on the 13th of June 2015. He was aged 66. He was at various times the General Manager, National Theatre, Lagos, Executive Director, Programs, and Executive Director, News. at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Was a very nice boss, father, uncle, He's someone that touched so many lives, within and outside NCA.
Jimiate was one who lived all his life in humility.
Prayers were offered for the peace and well-being of those he left behind. In Lagos, Annie Daniels.
Making the world a better place than we met it. Well, that's our package from Lagos Network Center on Panorama today. Thanks for being there. Bye for now.
Gas pipelines are the arteries for powering electricity. When the artery is burst, then the entire system collapses. Vandalizing gas pipelines is a criminal offense against the Nigerian people. Let us join hands and protect our gas pipelines from the enemies of Nigeria. Report any suspected vandal to the security operatives. Let us stop vandals before they destroy our collective national heritage, so we can have the Nigeria of our dreams, where there will be light at all times. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.